everyone, happy Friday. Started a couple minutes late, so sorry about that. So it is a little after 2 o'clock now, but it is and still live on Friday. So we're talking about burnout today. And before I kind of get into that, I want to just go over like our housekeeping items. Wow, I can't even speak today again. It's definitely Friday at this point. So I just like to introduce myself. So it's Audrey Button from Safe Harbors. I use the pronoun she, her, hers. And I always like to give a content warning as some of the stuff I'll be discussing may be sensitive to some. So please take care of yourself however you need to. And, a lot of the topics we're focusing around is relating to, because it's Self-Care Awareness Month and Suicide Prevention Month. So that's also definitely important to recognize. And then also, I always like to give a disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this video are not necessarily those of Safe Harbors and Finger Lakes, but of those in the video. So, before we get into it, I also like to mention next month is October, which I can't believe we're already halfway through September. We do have a topic planned, and I'm trying to think how many. We have a topic planned for next Friday. So I was trying to think of how many more Fridays we had. So after that, it's going to be October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So the schedule for that month should be coming out soon. So make sure you keep an eye out for it because it's going to be a really busy month. So make sure you keep an eye out for that, okay? So let's go ahead and get into the topic, burnout. So if you haven't heard of burnout, it often occurs in certain jobs, oftentimes like human servicing sort of jobs. So like law enforcement, medical, advocacy like we do, social work, like things like that you're doing a lot of interaction with people. This oftentimes occurs. And so burnout, just to kind of give a simple definition of what that is, it's just a prolonged response to chronic interpersonal stressors. So just a lot of stress over long periods of time, and it could be mostly on the job, but this could also occur in like relationships with parenting, anything like that. So there's 3 key dimensions to this response of burnout, and that is just you feel like an overwhelming exhaustion, feelings of detachment, especially from your job, and then just a sense of ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment. The feeling of lack of accomplishment is oftentimes what occurs with burnout. So physical signs and symptoms of burnout. So you might feel tired, drained most of the time, lowered immunity, so you have frequent illnesses most likely, frequent headaches or muscle pain, and change in appetite or sleeping habits. So those are some physical signs of burnout, okay? And then some emotional signs and symptoms of burnout could include just a sense of failure and self-doubt, the feeling of helplessness, you're trapped, you feel defeated, there's some detachment, so feeling alone in the world, like in your own little space, loss of motivation, increasingly cynical and negative outlook, and just decreased satisfaction and sense of accomplishment. You just feel like you're just not with it, really. So, some behavioral signs and symptoms that you might see with burnout is just some withdrawing from responsibilities, isolating yourself from others, procrastinating. So you're just taking longer to get things done that maybe you would normally get done pretty quickly or relatively quickly. And then you might be developing some unhealthy coping mechanisms. So using food, drugs, or alcohol to cope, taking out your frustration on others, skipping work, coming in late, leaving early, things like that. So I don't want you to confuse stress and burnout. Chronic stress ultimately causes burnout, but stress and burnout are generally different things, if that makes sense. So with stress, you might see it's characterized by over-engagement. Burnout is characterized by disengagement. So there's just an overwhelming amount of stress that automatically leads to that burnout. So you're over-engaged, now you're disengaging, okay? So then your emotions, so with stress, your emotions are overreactive, and with burnout, your emotions are weakened. So same with stress. So it produces that urgency, and there's hyperactivity oftentimes when you're stressed. But with burnout, you just, there's helplessness and hopelessness. You're just done. You're burnt out. You're tired. Like it just as it sounds, burnout. There's a loss of energy with stress, and then with burnout, just a loss of motivation, ideals, and hope. And then with, stress, it often leads to anxiety, disorders of some sort. And with burnout, it leads to some sort of detachment and depression. So some ways to deal with burnout if you've all experienced that. Thanks, Sarah. So, if you're dealing with burnout, you think you're getting to the point where you're going to get burnt out, definitely be aware. You know yourself the best. You're an expert in your own self. So, making sure you're being aware of, potential burnout. And so when you're thinking about ways to prevent burnout or how to deal with burnout, think about restructuring your environment. It's just, maybe it's